We had you on Monday chatting about that settlement with the Department of Home Affairs. You've taken quite a big hit from that. It's affected today's numbers, pushed you into the red. With this now behind you, with it ring-fenced, what can we look forward to in the second half of the year? Will you start to see some revenue coming through from the Who Am I contract? And is that going to push your full year numbers back into the black?
Okay, just one point. It's what you saw in the numbers now. It's obviously, as you rightly said, the write-offs that we incurred when we settled with Home Affairs. But part of it was the restructuring cost. When you take out 500 billion rand out of your business, you have to quickly adjust your cost structure. So that's part of it. So what you will see in the next second half of the year, it's part of it will still flow into this year. So we're not quite out of that yet, but quite a manageable number that we will have to readjust our cost in terms of people towards the end of the year. We will not see a lot of revenue coming from Who Am I Online for the second half of the year, because what we'll be doing now is the planning phase, which will take place in this coming month or two, and only then will we ramp up. However, what I believe we have done is we have restructured the business to be able to the structure so that is in line with the revenue that we're going to expect from this. I mean, we're going to lose about 500 or so, 500 billion rand. So we look at us being about 2.5 billion, 2.7 billion rand, and our cost structure must be in line with that.
Even if we strip out the whole affair with the Department of Home Affairs and the cost that you are taking from that, it looks like it was a pretty weak 6 months anyway. Now you've got two parts to the businesses. You've got the managed services, professional services. It looks like managed services did okay. Professional services still very much depressed.
If I start with professional services, that's where the Who Am I Online is run from. So if you look at that business, they lost 40% of the revenue because of this. So you can see why the performance is not so good. However, besides that, Who Am I Online, the market is slightly subdued in that space of the market. So we were slightly flat. So it was tough on that side. But you're absolutely correct. The managed services part of the business did very well. They grew the revenue by 16% and the profit by about 13%. So it's a good part of the business. Even in the professional part of the business, ERP, which is really to do with SAP, has done exceptionally well. The impact really, most of it is really coming out of Who Am I Online. What you're not seeing, obviously, when we talk to you about the write-offs, we are talking to you about the direct costs, but they're indirect costs of people managing those people. So we were slightly overgeared because we're expecting higher revenue, and that's why the profit in that was much lower than we'll expect, even with just taking out the Who Am I Online.
What sort of annuity income do you get from the business, particularly from the managed services business?
If you look at our business in general, you must expect about 50% of our business will be annuity. So 50% will be annuity. About 25% of the business will be contracts that we have won and we are delivering on, that is projects, and the remainder, which is about another 25% or so, must be business that we're going to win and have to deliver in that year. So the business, when I start the business, about 25% of the business is fairly okay, not totally in the bank, but fairly okay, and the rest is what we have to sell and deliver.
How about new money coming in? Are you starting to see government departments, so public and private sector spend coming back into the market? Are people starting to inquire about new infrastructure?
Well, two things. One is we use one of our business units as a barometer to see whether there's going to be an increase in, or rather the market will it's improving. So our placement division, where they do hiring of people, etc., that for the first time, lots of activity. That's always an indicator that the market is picking up. So I'm quite comfortable that I can see that. But also, if you look at what's happening in the managed services part of the business, people first invest in infrastructure and then on applications to run on that. So going forward, I can see the market, maybe in the next coming 12 to 18 months, I think the market will improve. And we are getting our business for that kind of improvement. I'm comfortable that we can trade out of this once of Who Am I Online impact.
You also talked about refocusing your management teams within some of the divisions. What caused that, and how's that going to position you for new business and for running the existing business going forward?
Well, the refocus is on two things. One, it's a general refocus, meaning that you don't get people focusing on fighting a legal battle or this debacle, but rather focusing on running the business. That's the first thing. But the second part is that the industry is maturing. So our IT industry is maturing worldwide, and when markets mature, what you have to do is to focus, move more from just selling products to more on solutions, focusing more on customers, be specific about customer pain points and deliver on that. So we are realigning our model in line with that, and it's only a function of maturing markets, and what we've done is the model, the structure of the company is changing in line with that. What the Huaman has done to us is to accelerate that implementation.
And when would you expect to see some positive results from this realignment?
I expect we're going to implement this before the end of June, so I expect the results of this coming in the next financial year. I don't expect much of it in this financial year, only in the next financial year.
We chatted a little bit on Monday just about the Who Am I online projects and just what that does for the Departments of Home Affairs. Can you replicate this for other government departments? Have you been chatting to other government departments, in fact other businesses, on this sort of project?
Well, it is quite unique to a typical Home Affairs, so it's not transportable to other departments. However, there's an inquiry about this kind of a solution for the rest of the continent. People are more serious about securing their borders, about identifying the citizens, etc. So where we are now, we have spoken to a number of governments around the continent, funded by countries outside of the continent. And as it is now, there's one tender on the table already on a typical Huama Online or border control DDT management solution.
Can you tell us who the tender is for?
Let me wait until it's just being issued, so maybe when it's official.
I think you're just trying to catch another invitation back into the channel again.
Absolutely, I like it here.
And just finally, in closing, second half of the year, we chatted a little bit about it. What would you expect for the full year? How is the second half of the year progressing so far? So far,
the year has gone very well. I think the first 2 months of the year, that's the numbers I have gone very well. But obviously, the market must expect that we'll take restructuring costs. Quite manageable though, but for the second half. But I'm quite confident with this. I think it will be generally in line with how we perform the rest of the normally second half of the years going backwards. I think it will be in line with that.